More freighters are rolling from the assembly lines. So we can take another look at that sector. Already have a couple of ships stocked. I might as well turn them into looters first. Let's quickly activate auto-assign looters, then he will fill the slots with these two ships. And I think this is good because the Paranid and the Teladi are still fighting in this area. So we might even profit from a couple of loot drops. Yeah, we also have bailed ships. So I can also reassign one of my tug ships from the original sector and give him another home base. These are just TM ships, small carriers, and they will grab bailed ships. And it's better if we spread the two that we already have around a bit more instead of all of them having all of them fishing in the same area. Then I can also build up the trade list. I'm simply going to use the same one I have been using on my other sector, so simply save this. And then switch over to the other outpost and applying that same trade list, and then I'm going to make some adjustments. So now my new outpost in company strength has the same trade settings. The sector is going to be a main trading hub, so I don't really want to keep much. I mostly want to keep the stuff I need to keep my mining stations running. So I'm going to set everything but the sea rations to be exported. So everything that is looted or otherwise produced will be sold for money. We also need vegetables in this sector, just like our first one. So we can also leave our import setting from the first sector. Just going to... Yeah, some entries can also be deleted, or no, maybe I want to keep the jump drive cores. Like I said, I want to put some emergency stocks all around the game world. I'm keeping the ore. I'm also keeping the silicone, just like before. Everything else can be sold. The protein paste is probably important to produce more food, so I'm going to keep that. But the rest can actually go and become money. Yeah, all of that. I'm setting all of these weapons, lasers, all that stuff is going to be 0. So everything is going to be sold. Don't want to build ships in this outpost. And we're also not buying much. We're buying a bit of sea rations. But no chemicals, no computers, no crystals, no hull plating. Bit of protein paste, yeah, sure. Vegetables, the food, yes. Okay, this is it. So my new outpost in the upper right corner is basically only producing the food. I'm going to deconstruct the chemical lab that I placed there first. That we have more station slots to build these mining stations. I want to focus my mining operations in this area because it seems very safe, and mining stations are very valuable. You should protect them, because if they get destroyed for any reason, then you are also going to lose the asteroid they have been placed on. And the best asteroids are the ones which have a yield of 50 or higher. This will give you the maximum efficiency for your mining stations. I believe if they have at least a yield of 50, then it doesn't matter if it's 51 or 52 or even 60. As long as it's 50 or more, you will get the maximum efficiency. So losing asteroids like that is it's always been bothering me in previous games, so I'm trying to keep them safe this time. Just docking up here with my fortress sector, and I'm simply unloading my missiles. I have bought a bunch of cheap missiles and also some Tomahawk missiles for the bombers. Missiles are a bit a bit cheaper in my rebalance. They're also not doing that much damage, but they are still more useful because you can hit the enemy easier usually. So I'm simply dropping off everything here, and then we can send our 3 bombers here. Can I broadcast? No, I'm going to make a new fleet for them. Just quickly add them and then send them from my home system where they have been built to the fortress sectors where I just put the missiles in. And we have more trading ships coming out of my factory. So I can start to activate some traders. We have defined the trade settings, so the only thing that is left is activating these ships. And especially if they bring food, then the population is starting to grow. And then we can produce waste, and I'm probably also selecting the taxation perk in this sector because the population is so high. Could also disable the food requirement, but I want to stay a bit flexible, so let's maybe do that later. We have 2 more ships to be ready as traders. They're starting their job now, and they are already trying to import sea rations and the food, which is exactly what we need. And the looters are also already collecting wares. So they already found some good stuff here. Probably already picked it up. Okay, the large transports. Do we have any more factories? They have to get home first. I think this sector here is going to work out really well because we are already seeing that the split are relocating forces between these 2 gates here. Or no, between the especially between the north and the south gate, when they are traveling and relocating their troops here. And that is good when we can later on maybe disrupt their trade, have a few ships of our own just conducting piracy in this area here to hurt their economy a bit. And then again, if a powerful fleet is attacking us, we can use our electromagnetic pulse from the outpost to do some serious damage to them and fry their shielding. So that is why the sector here was so interesting for me, because it's the perfect location to launch pirate attacks into the split territory. I'm still researching corvettes, and once I have that, I'm probably setting up a few raiding groups which are monitoring these split sectors for freighters, and then we are going to attack their economy directly. The Boron also have built up a sizable battle group again. And if they were invading my sector here right now, then I would probably lose it. Thinking about that, it was probably a bad idea to put an outpost in here, because that is much more valuable than any other factory. But if we did everything perfect, then where would be the fun in that, right? So I'm gonna activate auto assign for the traders. The outpost will fill the remaining slots on its own when the ships become ready. And once I have built a few more factories, I will fill the sector up and then also assign the agents for that. You can already load the agent preset. Just loading the complete one, I replaced that with the custom one I built for my home system. So these are basically the same jobs. I usually like to make a few adjustments to my logistics settings, so the default complete preset is already very good. But for example, I like to switch normally the export jobs have a higher priority than the import jobs, and that can lead to certain factories running full. So I like to switch that around and grab the stuff I have already produced first. And then I like to set these minimum export thresholds for the waste especially, and if the outpost has a solar panels perk, then also for the energy, because if you don't do that, then these jobs will basically always occupy at least one freighter, because as soon as like 20 energy cells respawn or so, the job will become valid again if it's allowed to export them down to zero stock level, and that is very inefficient. So that is also worth noting that we have a border patrol traveling south, because I haven't seen a single strong fleet of the split in this area here. I mean, there were some, you basically got escorts all over, but other than a few task forces, there weren't some big fleets like these here, border patrols. Border patrols and rear guards. These are the big fleets with cap ships. And there haven't been any in this area. So they are now relocating. The battle groups are mostly occupied invading the Paranid sectors here. And I really hope that the Paranid will take this sector, because otherwise we will have our second border with the split. The thing I wanted to avoid at all costs. But it's all a bit random how the factions behave. And as you can see, we are already 3 hours after my big expansion. And the factions, I mean, they have taken a fair share of additional sectors, but there are still some left, especially in this area. Not a single one has been conquered. So it also strongly depends on how many battle groups are currently in range of these sectors and not occupied with doing other things, because factions can only conquer these sectors when a battle group directly travels there. And as long as that is not the case and the battle group is doing some other invasion, then these sectors will stay empty. Potentially for a very, very long time, so you actually don't need to rush.
Entering system, dark waters.
But if you have certain goals and certain sectors in mind that you want to grab, then yeah, you should speed up once you make your move.